Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
And check out that eye, that's exactly what we want to see. Woo, look at that panel, baby. And that, as they say, is that. How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the Marvel Comics covers of Jack Kirby, Volume 1 hardcover from Dark Horse Comics. Let's go ahead and check out what this book is exactly. And welcome back, everybody. So this is a very unique book because this book is being published by Dark Horse Comics, but it is the Marvel Comics covers of Jack the King Kirby. So I find that to be a very unique case. We've seen, Fantagraphics do some Marvel stuff, especially right now. They're collecting the Atlas stuff. We've seen Dynamite do Disney Comics, which of course all under Marvel, but it is really interesting to see the Marvel logo here, the Marvel Comics covers of Jack Kirby, Volume 1, 1961 and 1964. Of course, we have this image here of Captain America from, and of course the rest of the Avengers, from Avengers issue number 4, the Marvel Comics covers of Jack Kirby, Volume 1, 1961 and 1964. Marvel logo up there on Uncanny Omar Tuck Pretty One Day, and the Dark Horse logo down there. And then the back of the book right here, art and popular culture. So, pop culture, the Dark Horse and Marvel logo there, and then the ISBN with a retail price of $49.99. This collection is the first in the definitive series of every Marvel superhero cover Kirby ever drew. It's another glorious testament to the quality and quantity of work produced by one of America's greatest artists in any field. And that does come from the introduction. So this doesn't have a dust jacket, it's just the art on board. I do love this border right here that wraps around. You have the villains on one side, and you've got the heroes on the other. Now, if you're curious about how big this book is, well, here it is compared to the size of a trade paperback. The trim size of a trade paperback being a lot smaller than the hardcover here, and to the trim size of a Omni. Of course, the Omni does have the round spine, as opposed to the flat spine found on the Marvel Comics covers of Jack Kirby. But here's the height comparison. Alright, so what I'm going to do is crack this hardcover open, and we're going to check out exactly what's in here. Of course, you're smart enough to figure out that this is the Marvel covers of Jack Kirby. But which covers? Did they pick and choose, or are we talking about all of them? And then, of course, I'll do a comparison to one of the most recent printings of an Omni, looking at the covers, size and the colors and everything. Alright, let's go ahead and open this book up. Your end sheets here. What they did was put all the different covers that Jack Kirby did. So that's what this is, right? I mean, we are looking at the Marvel Comics covers of Jack the King Kirby. And we'll talk about the way that this is printed here in a little bit, the binding and everything. Jack Kirby should be on money. These legendary covers are just one of the 10 reasons why. Brian Michael Bendis. So here are the credits. There is an introduction by Patrick McDonnell, Vince Iadevaya, and John Lynn. Mike Essel are the editors and designers, and then published by Mike Richardson, of course, at Dark Horse Comics. Here's your introduction by Patrick McDonnell, talking about Jack Kirby, the importance of him and his work, and of course breaking down like some of the issues. Vincent, however, talks about just a little bit of history as to who Jack Kirby was, and honestly breaking down something like issue number 7 here. For example, what it makes it such a great cover compared to all the other Fantastic Four covers. And what this is from 1961 to 1964. So you're going to be seeing a lot of course, the Silver Age, Marvel Age, really, of the superheroes. So, starting with Fantastic Four, issue number 1. and then we have number 2. So you'll have here the importance of each of these issues and when they were originally coming out, November 1961, and then January 1962, first appearance of the Fantastic Four and the Mole Men, and then first appearance of the Skrulls. One thing that they put here is something that I didn't even notice, but yeah, it's not until issue 3 that you see them on the cover with their costumes. I don't know why I never noticed that. This is the Tales to Astonish issue number 27, which is, of course, first appearance of Hank Pym. And they tell you right here. And again, when it was originally published. So the way they're printing these are in chronological order by the publishing date, when they originally came out. Not so much so when he drew it, but when it was originally published. So yes, most, like 92% of the book is all printed in this big splash page. Then we get some of these, like here, where we did see a little bit of issue number 7, right here, of Fantastic Four in the introduction by Vincent, just kind of breaking down the issue. But over here, there's like a thumbnail size. So not every single cover is going to make it into a splash page, but every single cover is in this book and printed in chronological order. So we are looking 1961 to 1964, so it's including cover art from some of the earliest issues of the Fantastic Four, of the Incredible Hulk, Journey into Mystery, Strange Tales, the X-Men, Tales to Astonish, and the Avengers. It's not until, 1963 that you get the Avengers. Tales of Suspense. I wish that one had been in a splash page. Now, they just have the covers that he did, not the ones that Steve Ditko did, but they do have the ones that Steve Ditko inked. So it's not Jack Kirby on Amazing Fantasy, for example, because it is inked by Steve Ditko, first appearance Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So I love that they add that on here. So this is truly something for folks that just love Jack Kirby's artwork, that have to have it in the biggest possible format. Each of the covers do have a white frame around it, and there it is, X-Men number 1, September 1963. Now, I think issues 2 and 3 are done in a thumbnail size, because it's Blob's first appearance, and Eunice the Untouchable's first appearance. The Vanisher, not Eunice the Untouchable, how dare I. The hate monger right there. And what I want to do is actually compare it to there's actual little placeholders like that from time to time. I want to compare it to a couple of the printings. Like I have Fantastic Four Omni Volume 1, and then we'll compare it to like the Masterworks too. Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos also being a part of this. Then eventually, these collections, these anthologies like Tales to Astonish, like Strange Tales, like Journey into Mystery will evolve into other series. But this is a volume 1, so I wonder if they're going to go all the way through right before he leaves for the Distinguished Competition. And then, by the time you get to these issue covers right here, they don't really say, first appearance of characters. This is the Giant Man versus the Hulk story, because there's really not that many first appearances. Except Wonder Man makes an appearance here, and Purple Man right there. But it's just like returning characters or villains being used from another comic. Borrowing characters, if you will. Who is the Invisible Man? There's Eunice. Eunice didn't come until issue 8. Why did I think it was issue 2? I got him mixed up with the Vanisher. Oh my gosh, and I dare call myself the Uncanny Omar. And I kind of wish they had done a breakdown, and I know it would have been twice as many pages. We're looking at 184 pages right now. But it would have been really cool to see a breakdown of the issues, right? Or show it, like, if they still had the original art. But just talking a little bit about the stories behind the scenes, because some of these, had to be redrawn based on what the editor wanted. At the very end, there is this is the last one in here from December 1964, Tales to Astonish number 62. There is a bio, and of course, Jack King Kirby. And then Marvel covers credits back here, who published it, and then the end sheets. Now, this is sewn binding, and the paper stock they're using for this book is really thick, glossy paper stock. Alright, so what I want to do is go back to Fantastic Four number 1 to compare it to the Omni right here. So of course it's going to be bigger. It's actually got a yellow tone to this scan. And I wanted to use Fantastic Four because this one had the latest scans before the remaster works. So the color's a little bit different. It seems to be just a little bit darker over here. Again, the actual background's a little more yellow than over here, which is just cleaned up white, if you will. But let's look at what issue number 2 looks like. Here we go. Let's actually move it over here. As you can see, of course, affecting the color is also going to be this black border was over here, it's white. And you can see a little bit of bleed through here, whereas over here, really no bleed through happening. But this is the difference right here, just bigger, oversized, compared to this, even with that frame right there. And let's look at Fantastic Four. Let's look at issue number 3 after the scrolls here. There we go. So there's like a little bit yellowing going on the covers compared here, like a yellowish tone. Not a lot, just a little bit. And again, this is using the latest Masterworks files compared to this, it looks like. Although the faces are really cleared up, or cleaned up. Let's actually compare it to the remaster works of Spider-Man with Amazing Fantasy number 15 here. Now, the remaster works does use the latest scans. Like, they've scanned them and done the latest restoration. So it's looking a little bit more silverish than over here for Amazing Fantasy. He himself has a little bit of a darker bluish tone. Again, this is just a reproduction of covers, right? I don't think many people are going to be upset about the restoration because they look great. But yeah, they look like they have a yellowish tint. Let's look at issue number 2. And again, the color could also be due to the type of paper stock they're using. But here's the webbing, for example, on Amazing Spider-Man number 1, and then the FF down here. Kind of give you an idea of the difference. 4 seems a little bit more cleaned up than over here. But again, this is the latest remaster work compared to this over here. But that is it. That's what is included in here. That's how it's collected. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this hardcover, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and build of this book. Let me know in the comments down below if you are a huge fan of Jack Kirby and you have to have every Jack Kirby book out there, or if you are just a fan of his covers and you always wanted to collect them all in one place. Well, look no further than this book. If you have any questions, leave those down below. Smash that like button on the way out. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.